Is the Oogie Boogie Boogeyman movie on Hulu worth watching? We'll let you know right now. Welcome, all you misfits and metalheads, to the cutting room floor. Yes, we are still here recommending movies to you, so go and watch them. We are from Cut Like This. I am Thorn Black,
I'm Roseblood.
and today we are reviewing The Boogeyman, streaming on Hulu as part of their Halloween package, I guess. I don't know what it's called.
The Halloween lineup.
Yes.
Yes. We really have to say Hulu's been freaking knocking it out
Hulu's
the box.
been doing a
with
good
these.
job this
The,
season.
the Halloween lineup is pretty damn decent. Boogeyman is, your typical, family haunting kind of story,
Mm-hmm.
and but they take it to an interesting place, and they have a pretty interesting monster. I have to say, the kid actor is not annoying.
She's not
no,
actually, right?
she's quite it's like it's reasonable, and she's even taken to like certain tactics to try to defeat her fear of monsters hiding under the bed or in the closet.
It's a pretty
and stuff
intelligent
like that.
little kid. I'm happy. I don't like stupid kids in movies. I really don't. It's like I understand.
It's hard enough for me to like kids in general.
Yeah.
So to like a kid
And all kids are not dumb.
Yeah.
Like some kids are real smart.
Exactly.
In general, I feel like kids, especially of a certain age, pick up on stuff really quickly.
Yeah.
So I like that being portrayed in film. It's like this kid is not going to be a moron forever, so you can't make him like that. So I was happy with the decisions.
And the kid has a very, very reasonable the reason why the kid is afraid of the dark is because the family's been through some shit. You know what I mean? So it makes sense. These are normal, trauma responses.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I'm
like, okay, good. Thank you for freaking making it make sense.
When I was a little kid, I didn't really want to be left in the dark alone either.
Yeah,
I can't blame her.
Yeah,
I can't blame her.
So yeah, it's very reasonable. This family is a family that's a little bit on the edge. They've been through some stuff. You'll find out exactly what that is. I'm not going to tell you. I don't like spoilers here, people. I don't like the spoilers. So, just your very, very bare bones overview is that this is a family that's been through some stuff. Dad, younger daughter, older daughter. That's like a teen in school, whatever. Big sis and stuff. And I do think the camaraderie, the relationship between them all, makes a lot of sense. And you'll recognize the dad from actually the Mindy Project. He's the love interest in the Mindy Project.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
But he's a little more rugged now and a little older.
Right.
It
did take me a second.
It took a second because the
the
beardage. But anyway, so the characters are likable enough characters and everything. The acting is solid. The lighting is good.
For me, one of the things that pros and cons, right?
Yes.
One of the cons for this movie is kind of the normal. Hey, I saw something. No, you didn't. Hey, there's a noise over here. No, there isn't. It's like that's,
it does make sense.
Yeah, I mean, of course,
it makes sense because the dad is a psychiatrist, so of course the dad is gonna always go towards the more logical explanation.
And yes, it does make sense, and
especially at least if it's gonna go a traditional route. At least it's a sensible route.
For a father who's a psychiatrist, of course he's going to explain everything in a way. No, that's because I'm like, she's still a child, so where's the trauma come from? And of course he's trying to break it down, and your imagination and is overactive, and we always get that like time and time again. So, granted, it does make sense, and they do a good job with at least his profession kind of explaining that away, so it makes a little bit more sense. But it gets a little bit tiring for me personally after a while, where it's like the kid sees something and parents never believe him, or they believe him when it's too late.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just like,
you're like, come on,
right.
come on,
it's
already.
Like I'm somewhat expecting that in movies, but at this point, also, since we have seen so many of these types of movies, I want people to keep evolving with stuff that just, I don't know, makes it a little more exciting.
A little less formulaic. I understand what you're saying.
Just bring formulas a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's all.
So anyway, the all three members of this family are messed up in the head from the tragic circumstances of their lives, and they're each handling it in a different way. And you kind of see that unfold. They're each, not necessarily always using the best coping mechanisms
but
for
that
dealing
mirrors reality
with life. And so that to me, I thought was really interesting because it is realistic. You know what I mean? Like everybody handles trauma differently, and and they don't always, a person who is in the midst of handling some trauma isn't always going to make the best decisions.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
So we see characters make decisions that they definitely regret later on, and it's great to to see, you're like, hey, better pay attention, you know what I mean? Like, you might not, you
better
might
pay attention before it's too late.
Or the boogeyman comes to get you. And if you haven't seen our take on the boogeyman, well, I do suggest that you just hop down into our channel there, and then maybe we'll put a link or something, so you can check it out yourself and see what we think a boogeyman should look like. Because it is quite dark at certain scenes, as makes sense because this is a creature that lives in the darkness. In the film, not in our music. Well, our music video is kind of dark too, but it's supposed to be.
No, but
supposed to be.
You can see everything in our music video.
Yeah, yeah. So there's definitely some people might have mixed feelings on the depiction of the monster because it definitely does use a little more VFX than prosthetic SFX.
I had mixed feelings about the monster myself.
Yeah.
And it's not VFX versus, practical effects. Like, obviously, I love a real practical effect. I prefer practical effects. If anything, I prefer practical mixed with VX if you need to. But just having
I think it does do that. I think there is
having that real thing there. There's never going to be something that can top having a really well done
physical object,
physical prosthetic. There's nothing that can top that. If anything, add effects on top of that, like a little bit to bring it out more if you can. But I understand sometimes you can just go straight VFX depending, and it can still be good. This monster design, however, it was very creepy, but also at times I felt like it could have been creepier. And granted, there are some real creepy aspects to this monster, like especially when it opens its mouth. But like if its mouth isn't open, then I feel like it's still scary, but I still felt like it might have been a little scarier.
Yeah.
There's like a little bit, right? You feel that?
I definitely could. I definitely could see where you're coming from.
And
so that being said, before we give any spoilers away, because even by saying there's a creature, we are giving something away.
I mean, they know there's a creature.
Yeah, there's a creature in the trailer.
Otherwise, why are you watching this?
Anyway, but that all being said, how many chainsaws would you give the Boogeyman?
I'm gonna give the Boogeyman, not our Boogeyman, the music video. I'm gonna give the Boogeyman, the movie on Hulu, 3 out of 5 chainsaws.
Okay. Well, why the demerits?
So for me, it's gonna be again some of that just classic trope of like just the back and forth of like the kid's haunted and I lose my mind, parents help me. Oh no, there's nothing going on with you. I'm terrified. Oh, yeah, shut up. You better get some sleep. And no, it's gonna see there's nothing in the car. It's like yes, I know that needs to be done to like an extent, but after all, it's like either condense it or come up with a spin or I don't know, and then mixed in with maybe like the design of the Boogeyman. Again, it's not bad, like it is scary, but I feel like it could have been scarier. Like they have a moment where it does get scarier, but I'm like, I want that scarier to be on the outside and it to be even worse when you go to that scarier moment that you went to.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted in particular. So
I can see where you're coming from.
You know what I mean?
That. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's just a couple of things in it, and it's like, would I watch it again? I wouldn't watch it again.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't have...
One time is good.
We're like a one and done, It's not necessarily like a groundbreaking type of horror movie, or there weren't any specific scenes that were just like one scene that just stood out amongst the like horror movies in general. You know what I mean? But it wasn't done bad. It was executed well.
I do think that the pervasive feeling of dread does get worse, which is good. But yes, it does rely a little bit on, that kind of, it could have been a little bit more clever and they could have invested a little more into that monster, just a little more. I know that he's supposed to be like in the darkness and the shadows and all that, but I do feel like certain times,
right? But
I just wanted to see just a little bit more.
I wanted to see a little bit more. And you see, you know what the problem is also? Recently, I just saw No One Will Save You. And talk about creature feature, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I'm big. It was heavy on that. It was heavily featuring the creature, right? Yeah.
And I'm big on like, okay, don't show me the monster, the creature, the alien, the whatever it's going to be. Don't show the full thing to me right away, right?
Yes.
You know, let it creep me out. Let me see little hints and tidbits of it. Let me get like let my imagination run wild for a little bit, which you know all these movies do. But when you get into the meat of like, okay, let's show some monster stuff. I really want, like, you gotta throw that monster out there. It gotta be disgusting, gotta be big, gotta be nasty, and you gotta let me see it for a little bit. Have it on screen, terrorizing people, terrorizing the place, run it, you know, and show it, and then maybe almost video game-esque, where the final boss will have a multiple form or something like that. Like it gets worse, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like I could have done with more of that. I felt like there was definitely room to be a little bit more terrifying in some areas.
Yep. I'm going to give it a 3.5. The little extra half is that I do think that the acting was really good. I think all the actors did a really good job with the story. And I liked the vibes between the older daughter and the younger daughter. I like that. I like their relationship together, and especially, you know, in the turnaround moment. You know what I mean? Like, and there were some genuine like bumps in the night and spooky moments that caught me. You know, that caught me. Like I was like, oh, you know, like there's the jump scares that you expect to be there or there, and I do think that it was an interesting take on the Boogeyman. It was different. It was definitely different than other Boogeyman that I've seen before. And I like that about it. So, yeah, that's what I gotta say about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to link our music video, The Boogeyman, down in the description below, just to make it nice and simple for you.
And let me know how you think my Boogeyman stacks up.
Please go
against
check
the
it out.
herd. Because this Boogeyman was it took a lot of work to make that Boogeyman. That was a full face of prosthetics. And I hand applied it and wore it, and I got cuts in my mouth that have never quite fully healed.
She sure did get a bunch of cuts. Those teeth were like razor sharp.
Yeah. The teeth of the Boogeyman were razor sharp, and they razor sharp chopped my mouth up inside. And I sacrificed my mouth for you guys to make a really scary Boogeyman.
I personally think you did a great job. I love the video. I think you did a really good job with it. And
no bias or anything. No bias or anything.
No bias, you know. So go check it out. Let us know what you think. Check out our other music videos and our music on Spotify. Once again, we are cut like this, and thank you. We'll see you next time.